how disinformation affects democracy and human rights in the MENA region is my presentation for today. So, what is the first thing that comes into your mind when I say disinformation? Do you relate it to politics, government, traditional media, or social media? All these questions will be answered in my presentation today. I'll be discussing how disinformation has an impact on democracy and human rights, specifically in the Middle East. So, what is disinformation? According to the European Union, disinformation is false news that is intentionally created to deceive the society and cause harm. So, how does this affect democracy? First, disinformation or fake news is used as a tool or propaganda and manipulation to influence political outcomes, and this was seen in the 2016 US elections. Fake news was spread with the aim of influencing voters and promoting Trump's political agenda. This undermines the integrity of the democratic process. Second, it can contribute to public polarization and division, which could be difficult to find common ground and work towards shared goals when people are exposed to different versions of reality. I'll be discussing the example of Lebanon later on this example in my presentation. The question here is how news is shared in the Middle East and which channels are the most used. So as we can see in this graph, that was conducted in the areas of the MENA region, such as Jordan, Lebanon, and Tunisia. 78% of the population gets their daily news from traditional media. However, it's not surprising that 67% of the people receive the news from smartphones. As someone that is from Lebanon, I can relate honestly to that. There are even WhatsApp and Facebook groups that you can share like news as text messages without an even trusted source. This is also research from the same study that was proven that in Lebanon, 54% use Facebook to spread news and 39% use WhatsApp to share their news. And that's why I could relate to that. So 47% of the population in Qatar share news on Instagram, which was honestly surprising because I had no idea that some people use Instagram for that. The other graph shows the percentage of people who trust the mass media in the country, and all the countries marked a descent from 2015 till 2017. However, Lebanon is the only country where the percentage increased. Every media channel in Lebanon is affiliated with a political party. One of the most prominent examples was the disinformation and propaganda that were used in Lebanon during the elections. These are some tweets used by political parties spreading fake news to target their opponents to get more votes and spread hatred between the society, which shows violation of democracy. Nevertheless, politicians in Lebanon always tend to use propaganda, not always only in elections, but in the revolution. Lebanon's authorities, in collaboration with political parties, had launched a campaign to instill fear through disinformation and the spread of fake news, particularly on social media platforms. During the first week of the protest, one of the most widely circulated stories was a video supporting to show linking what was going on in Beirut to a Serbian organization funded by the US. Unfortunately, disinformation can lead to death of people too. This was the case of Riham Yaqub, who lost her life after a fake video went viral on social media showing her leading street chants in Iraq. The Iraqi government accused her of being a US agent. This happened in August 2022 when there was protests in Iraq. Another example is Syria. As we all know, Syria is under attack and it's not a democratic country. So the Syrian president always shows his citizens that Syria is a democratic country, that everyone supports his presidency. During the elections, videos of people were shown chanting and praising him, claiming that if he becomes a president, it's a victory over foreign powers that are attempting to destabilize Syria. Sharing disinformation to win is not democratic because it's in a way or another he's convincing them with false information. As a conclusion, it's important to note that policymakers and civil society in the Middle East and North Africa should play a critical role in combating misinformation at a local level. Also, just a small note that the next time you want to share anything or your friends are sharing a news on social media, please make sure that you are not contributing to the death of someone, as we've seen with Riham. Thank you for listening, and hopefully people really realize the negative outcomes of sharing fake news and disinformation.